Have you ever stood in your garden, looking at a chili plant that seems absolutely perfect, only to feel a sinking sensation in your stomach a few weeks later? It is a story as old as gardening itself. You water it diligently. You make sure it gets the perfect amount of warm, golden sunlight, and the leaves grow into a lush, vibrant canopy of deep green. The plant looks incredibly vigorous, standing tall and proud. Then, the magic moment arrives. The first delicate white blossoms begin to emerge, promising a heavy harvest of fiery, crisp peppers. But instead of transitioning into beautiful fruits, something goes terribly wrong. The blossoms start to drop off one by one, leaving bare stems behind. Or worse, the tiny peppers that do manage to form begin to develop a soft, sunken, leathery black patch at their very tips. Most gardeners don't know this, but your plants are screaming for help. And the culprit is a silent deficiency that hides right before your eyes. It is not a lack of water, nor is it a lack of sunshine. The plant is suffering from a severe calcium deficiency. Calcium is often the forgotten hero of the vegetable garden. While we constantly talk about nitrogen for leafy growth, phosphorus for roots, and potassium for overall health, calcium is the literal structural foundation of your plants. Think of calcium as the mortar between the bricks of a house. Without it, the cell walls of the plant are weak, unstable, and unable to support rapid growth. When a chili plant enters its reproductive phase, trying to push out flowers and set fruit, its demand for calcium skyrockets. If the root system cannot supply enough of this vital mineral to the growing tips, the cells literally collapse, leading to blossom end rot and stunted, deformed growth. When faced with this problem, many well-meaning gardeners do exactly what they have seen on popular social media videos. They grab a handful of leftover eggshells from the kitchen, crush them up roughly in their hands, and scatter them around the base of the plant. They step back, feeling satisfied that they have solved the problem naturally. But what happened next surprised me when I first started gardening years ago. Despite the soil being covered in eggshells, my plants continued to decline. The blossom end rot did not stop, and the new leaves still came in curled and distorted. Here is the hard truth that veteran growers understand. Raw eggshells are practically useless to your plants in the short term. Yes, eggshells are incredibly rich in calcium carbonate, boasting a composition of nearly 95% of this essential mineral. However, calcium carbonate is highly insoluble in water. When you throw raw eggshells into your garden bed, they can sit there for months or even years without breaking down. The soil microbes have to work incredibly hard to decompose those tough shells, and by the time that calcium is finally released into a form the plant can actually drink, the growing season is long over, and your chili plant is already gone. To save a struggling plant, you need a way to make that calcium instantly bioavailable. You need a method that bypasses the slow decay of nature and delivers a liquid goldmine of nutrients directly to the roots. That is where a simple, ancient kitchen secret comes into play, transforming a common household waste product into a fast-acting, highly soluble plant elixir. To unlock the true power hidden within an eggshell, we have to look at the science of the soil through a practical lens. Since plants cannot chew on solid materials, they can only absorb nutrients that are completely dissolved in water. If we want to help our chili plants immediately, we must find a way to convert that solid, stubborn calcium carbonate into a highly soluble form. Fortunately, you do not need a chemistry degree or expensive laboratory equipment to do this. All you need is a common pantry staple: standard white vinegar. The magic lies in a simple chemical reaction. When you combine the acetic acid found in vinegar with the calcium carbonate of the eggshells, a beautiful transformation occurs. The acid breaks down the tough, crystalline structure of the shells, releasing the calcium and bonding with it to create a brand new compound called calcium acetate. Unlike calcium carbonate, calcium acetate is highly soluble in water. This means that once it is diluted and poured onto the soil, the plant's roots can draw it up instantly, sending a rush of structural strength straight to the developing flowers and fruits. Here is where the real secret begins. You cannot simply throw whole eggshells into a bowl of vinegar and expect perfect results. The process requires a little bit of preparation and patience to ensure maximum extraction. First, you need to collect about 4 to 5 high-quality eggshells. Whenever you cook, save your shells, but do not just toss them into a bin. Take the time to rinse them thoroughly under cold water to remove any remaining egg white or yolk membrane. This step is incredibly important because any leftover organic matter can attract unwanted pests, create foul odors, or introduce harmful pathogens to your fermentation jar. Once they are clean, let them dry completely. I like to leave them on a sunny windowsill for a day or two until they are bone dry and paper brittle. Once your eggshells are dry, do not just crush them with your fingers. This is the step many people skip, and it drastically reduces the efficiency of the reaction. Instead, place the dry shells into a clean blender or a coffee grinder. Grind them down until they are reduced to a very fine, powdery consistency. By grinding the shells into a fine powder, you are dramatically increasing the total surface area. Instead of a few large pieces of shell, you now have millions of microscopic particles. When you eventually add the vinegar, this massive increase in surface area allows the acetic acid to contact the calcium carbonate from all sides simultaneously. The reaction happens much faster, much more violently, and ensures that you extract every single drop of usable calcium possible from the shells. After grinding, carefully transfer all of that fine, white eggshell powder into a clean glass jar. Avoid using plastic or metal containers, as the acid in the vinegar can react negatively with them over time. A simple glass mason jar is perfect for this project. Now, measure out exactly 100 milliliters of 5% white vinegar. This is the standard strength you find in any grocery store. As you begin to pour the vinegar slowly over the powder, you will instantly hear a soft, satisfying fizzing sound, and a thick layer of white foam will rise to the top of the jar. This is the visual proof that the reaction is working. The acetic acid is actively dismantling the eggshells, releasing carbon dioxide gas into the air, and leaving behind a rich, liquid calcium acetate solution. Because this chemical reaction produces a significant amount of carbon dioxide gas, you must never seal the glass jar with a tight lid. If you trap that gas inside, pressure will build up rapidly, and you could end up with a dangerous glass explosion in your kitchen. Instead, take a clean, breathable piece of cloth, like cheesecloth or a clean rag, place it over the mouth of the jar, and secure it tightly with a rubber band. This allows the gas to escape safely, while keeping dust, debris, and curious fruit flies out of your precious mixture. Once your jar is prepared, place it in a cool, dark, and well-ventilated area of your home, away from direct sunlight. A pantry shelf or a quiet corner of your garage is absolutely ideal. Now, you must let nature do its work for about 5 days. During this period, the intense fizzing will gradually slow down as the acid fully saturates the eggshell powder. Every day, I like to gently swirl the jar to ensure that any settled powder at the bottom is reintroduced to the liquid, maximizing the extraction process. What happened next surprised me the first time I brewed this mixture. By the 5th day, the sharp, pungent smell of raw vinegar had mellowed significantly, replaced by a slightly sweet, earthy aroma. The liquid inside had taken on a cloudy, amber-like hue, and most of the heavy eggshell powder had dissolved, leaving only a small amount of sediment at the bottom of the jar. This is the signal that your concentrated calcium solution is ready. But before you run out to the garden with your jar, you must understand that this liquid is incredibly potent. It is highly acidic and concentrated. If you were to pour this directly onto your chili plants, the high acidity would instantly scorch the delicate root hairs, shock the plant, and likely kill it within 24 hours. This is why proper dilution is the absolute most critical step of the entire process. To make this solution safe and highly beneficial for your garden, you must dilute it at a precise ratio. Take 10 to 20 milliliters of your concentrated homemade calcium solution and mix it thoroughly into 1 liter of clean, room-temperature water. If you are using tap water, it is a great idea to let it sit out in an open bucket for 24 hours beforehand to allow any chlorine to evaporate, as chlorine can harm the beneficial microbes living in your soil. Stir the mixture vigorously until the concentrate is completely distributed throughout the water. This precise dilution achieves 2 things. It neutralizes the harsh acidity of the vinegar, bringing the pH back to a safe, neutral level that soil microbes love. And it delivers the dissolved calcium at a gentle, easily absorbable concentration that will not stress the plant's root system. With your diluted calcium water ready, it is time to head out to the garden. But before you pour a single drop, there is one golden rule of fertilizing that every master gardener swears by. Never apply fertilizer to bone-dry soil. If your chili plant's soil is dry, the roots are already under stress, and introducing a nutrient solution can cause root burn through a process called reverse osmosis, where the dry soil actually sucks moisture out of the roots. To prevent this, always water your plants with plain water first, ensuring the soil is evenly moist. Once the soil is damp, you can begin the application. For a small to medium-sized chili plant, aim to apply about 100 to 150 milliliters of your diluted calcium solution. Do not dump it directly onto the main stem of the plant. Instead, pour it slowly in a wide circle around the root zone, right where the drip line of the leaves meets the soil. This encourages the roots to reach outward, building a wider, stronger, and more resilient root system. The results became visible just days later when I first tried this on my struggling peppers. Within a week, the young leaves at the very top of the plant, which had been starting to curl and look pale, began to unfurl, showing a deep, healthy green color and a firm, turgid texture. The plant's stems felt noticeably sturdier to the touch, no longer bending easily under the weight of the wind. But the real magic happened when the new blossoms opened. Instead of yellowing at the stem and dropping off, the flowers remained tightly attached to the plant, eventually transforming into tiny, glossy green chili peppers. These young fruits grew rapidly, free from any signs of blossom end rot, developing thick, crunchy walls and a beautiful, healthy sheen. However, as with all good things in gardening, moderation is key. Do not use this homemade calcium solution every time you water. Overusing calcium can lock out other essential nutrients in the soil, such as magnesium and potassium, leading to a whole new set of nutritional deficiencies. For the best results, apply this natural supplement only once every 2 to 3 weeks during the active flowering and fruiting season. Remember, this solution is a powerful booster, but it is not a replacement for a complete, balanced gardening routine. Your chili plants still need plenty of bright sunlight, consistent watering, and a healthy soil microbiome rich in organic matter to truly thrive. By taking what most people view as kitchen waste and combining it with a cheap pantry item, You are participating in a beautiful cycle of sustainable gardening. You are turning trash into treasure, saving money, and giving your plants exactly what they need to reach their full potential. If you enjoyed learning this natural gardening secret and want to discover more practical, budget-friendly ways to grow the most abundant garden of your life, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a tip. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you ever struggled with blossom end rot on your peppers or tomatoes? And what is your favorite way to recycle kitchen scraps in your backyard? Happy gardening, and may your harvest be abundant and beautiful.